Hi, everybody. This is James. My name is James. Welcome to my channel. And I just want to talk about The Wheel of Time for a little bit because The Wheel of Time is my favorite series of books. It has been for a very, very long time, over 20 years at this point. And when the show came out last year, I was so excited for it. I really enjoyed the show. It does have its flaws, but I still think overall the show was quite enjoyable. It was great. And season 2, with right around the corner, just a couple of months from now, less than 2 months from now. Man, time is flying. It's just great. I'm having a good time. So let's do some episode recaps. Nynaeve is my favorite character. Is my favorite female character in the books and on this show with the first season. The actress Zoe Robbins did such a fantastic job portraying Nynaeve that it was hard not to fall in love with her. But anyways, enough about my personal taste. Let's go ahead and talk about the show. We start the show. Woo! So, we start the show with a cold open where two guys are running away. You have no idea what's going on, but you see that they're being followed by women on horses wearing red dresses. They're trying to catch up with the people. They're saying stop. Then a landslide happens. The two guys have to stop. One guy looks back to the other and starts talking, and the woman, the leader looks at them and says, "Who are you talking to? There's no one there." And the guy turns around and looks, and his friend isn't there. There's never been there. And she's like, the madness has him already. And she starts talking about he touches it, and it makes it dirty. Something happens to him, but you have no idea what. From there, it pans up, and you see two people standing on the side of a cliff. This is Lan Mandragoran and Aes Sedai. And she just looks down and says, "It wasn't him. He's not the one." And Lan's like, "Are you sure? He was the right age. He was 20 years old. Important plot point." And Moiraine says, "Nope, he wasn't the one." And Lan's like, "All right. Where are we off to now?" And she's like, "We're going to the Two Rivers." Apparently there's 4 people there that's rumored to be Ta'veren, and they don't explain what Ta'veren is, so you just don't know what it is. Just know that they're important. Then it switches to the Two Rivers itself, and we are at some kind of ceremony. There's a whole bunch of women gathered around, and there's one girl sitting down. Someone's braiding her hair. Someone else is talking to her about the importance of the braid and what it means to to have your hair braided and be a woman in this society. And then she stands up and she says, "Are you ready?" And she's like, "Ready for what?" And yeet! Right off the cliff into the water. Person that did the eating is Nynaeve, and the person that went in the water is Egwene al'Vere. From that point, we switch over to Rand al'Thor and his dad, Tam. Rand is another one of the main characters. And they are just walking along a trail, walking along a road, trying to get to town. So anyways, it switches to tavern. Rand meets up with his friends, Matrim Cauldron and Perrin Ibarra. And this whole scene, the whole scene in the tavern, is all character setup. It's laying a foundation for things that are going to be important later. Most importantly, you get to see the type of character that somebody is. You see Matt gambling. You see Perrin just kind of sitting down watching everything, and he takes part, but he does his own thing most of the time. And then you have Rand, who sits down, kind of pokes fun at everybody, but basically he's just happy to be there with his friends and stuff like that. A little bit later, you see Egwene walks in. She's the woman of the hour now. Time progresses in this scene, and you see Matt at one point. He steals a trinket off of another girl. Later on, you see Lan dramatically enters the tavern, and everybody stops and turns around and looks. Great detail I love in this episode is Nynaeve. She grabs her dagger and walks over and is like, "What's your name?" And so he says, I'm Lan Mandragoran. And this is Moiraine. And she steps into focus and lowers her hood. Egwene's mom notices the ring that only Aes Sedai have and says, "Yes, right away, Aes Sedai." Things kind of go back to normal, and things happen. You get to see there's a little bit more character foundation stuff that's laid down. You see Perrin gets told, like, "Hey, your wife is in the forge. She's working it alone. You might want to go. You might want to go to it." And then he goes off to be with his wife for a little bit. You see Matt leaves, and he sees his mom. His mom is completely drunk and wasted. He takes her home and puts her in bed, covers her up. And despite the mom being drunk and kind of hurtful, His sisters are there, and you see that he's just all about taking care of his sisters. After that, you go back to the tavern, and Egwene and her family are cleaning up. Rand is helping, and Tam is just kind of standing around doing his own thing. And the parents kind of leave, and with a wink and a nod, like, don't do anything we wouldn't do. There's a cute little scene where they have a moment. Is that a strawberry in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? They do exactly what you think that they're going to do. Rand and Egwene do talk a little bit about what happened during the day, and Egwene mentions that Nynaeve asked her to be a wisdom, which in this society, a wisdom doesn't marry, they don't have kids, they're there for the village, not for anything of their own personal nature. If Egwene decides to be a wisdom, her and Rand, who are currently, seeing each other engaged and that sort of thing, yeah, that's going to be over. Then there's a cute scene with Lan and Moraine. You get a little bit more about their relationship. You see that it is strictly platonic. Then you cut outside. The horse has a white mask made of bone on it. That was really interesting. It was a really cool design choice. And you see a figure sitting on top of it, and he's got on a black cloak that covers most of his face, but you can see that his mouth and stuff is extremely pale, like whiter than me. The next scene starts with a new character being introduced. You see this a peddler coming to town with his knickknacks and wares. His name is Padan Fain. And when he gets to town, he kind of gets set up. He has a little bit of fun with the children, tell them like they can't have any sweets. Oh, no. And Matt comes over to try to sell the trinket that he stole from the woman. And you find out that the whole reason why he stole it, he's trying to get some lanterns for his sisters to be able to light and participate in the that night's coming festivities. You also see, as everybody is up and about, you see Lan and Moraine wandering around the village, and to Rand and Egwene. Rand kind of left early in the morning to go be alone, gather his thoughts, and Egwene comes and sits down and talks a little bit more about her decision, what she's going to do, and that sort of thing. She says that she's not really sure, but Rand knows. She's already made up her mind. Then it cuts to Nynaeve cleaning a pool. It's inside a cave. It's supposed to be a sacred pool. So anyways, Moraine comes in and was like, hey, I thought you were a wisdom. Why are you cleaning this? And Nynaeve's like, what? It's a sacred pool. It's an honor to clean. You should know that, but, you think you fancy. They have a little conversation, and you find out that Nynaeve really doesn't like Aes Sedai because the person that trained her how to be a wisdom once went to the White Tower, which is the seat of power for the Aes Sedai and where they all get trained, and she was rejected and had to come back. So Nynaeve is holding a grudge for that reason. That's Nynaeve for you. In furtherance of the conversation, she mentions how long it's been. Moraine's like, oh, it's been 25, 26 years? And she's like, yeah, but what does my age have to do with anything? Now, we as the audience know that she's looking for people of a certain age, and Nynaeve just, got herself out of that, and she doesn't even know it. So that scene ends. Nynaeve kind of storms off in a huff, and she goes and she finds Egwene on a bridge, and she sits down and starts talking to Egwene, and they start talking about listening to the wind, and can you hear that sound on the wind? And you hear the wind blowing, and then you hear like these guttural grunts and stuff like that as well. Right after this, it switches to Lan, and Lan, he finds this weird pattern of dead animals, dead sheep with entrails strewn about, but it's all done in a pattern that if you know the yin-yang symbol, it's the outline of the white part of the yin-yang symbol. Then after that, it switches back into the town. Moraine is still trying to gather information, and she's in her room. She's looking down, and she's watching Matt, Perrin, and Rand have a conversation, and she can hear them pretty well. So at some time after that conversation, Rand and his dad go home for the night. They have a conversation about Beltane and Winter's Night and what the purpose of lighting the candles are. That conversation comes to a close. It kind of switches back to the town, and you see everybody in the town lighting candles, putting them on boats, putting them in lanterns, and they're basically what they're doing is they're leaving a trail of lights for their loved ones who've passed away to find their way home. After the scene with all the lanterns and everything, it's time for the fun to begin. Singing, dancing, feasting, it's all great. You see, there's, real quick clips of like Matt dancing and Perrin dancing and Egwene dancing, and then the person that Egwene is dancing with, there's one part in the, when they're dancing, there's steps where they step aside, and then the person just like stiffens up, kind of goes, oh, and that's that. And basically you find out he's got a spear in his back, and then a Trolloc screams, and the fight's on. The town gets attacked by Trollocs. But you see everybody running away, running scared. You see Matt runs into a building and he sees his parents and he's wondering where his sisters are. The parents are just there scared, and he takes off running looking for his sisters. Perrin and his wife like go to their forge and try and bar the door. And you see other people all throughout the city being attacked. Egwene finds Nynaeve finds Egwene, and they run off and try and hide somewhere. They wind up dragging a person who got stabbed, and they're trying to save him, and they can't. And then it switches to Rand and his dad and their farm. They get attacked by a Trolloc too. In the middle of the fight, they both get knocked down. Rand's dad, Tam, he goes for a sword, pulls a sword out from under the bed, and starts fighting the Trolloc. In the middle of the fight, he gets stabbed by the Trolloc, and while the Trolloc is there like stabbing the dad, Rand stabs him through the throat. But then his dad is sitting there bleeding out and blood everywhere. First thought that Rand has is, I'm gonna get you to Nynaeve so she can heal you, because Nynaeve is that awesome. Switches back to the town. And like one of my favorite scenes, well, two of my favorite scenes. Number one, in the middle of all the chaos that's going on in the town, Patton Fane is just leaning up against a wall somewhere, eating an apple. He's like, I guess my work here is done. I'm leaving. Nynaeve, my favorite Nynaeve scene in this episode. Her and Egwene are sitting there, and a Trolloc like comes up to him and yells, and Nynaeve is holding on a knife and just yells back at him, and it was great. I love it. And then the Trolloc gets killed by Moiraine. You get to see Moiraine basically rip the Trolloc in half using the one power, the magic system from this universe. And you see her start throwing fireballs. Lan is just dancing around everybody, dancing around Moiraine and killing Trollocs left and right with his sword, just being the badass fighter that he normally is. At one point in all of the fighting, Nynaeve gets yanked by her braid by a Trolloc, and he runs away, and Egwene is just sitting there just Nynaeve, and just tries to go after her, tries to find her, and basically just has to be carried away by her mom saying like, no, you need to come here, we're things are going bad, we gotta stay. And then Moiraine, like, not only is she casting fireballs and making like rock tornadoes and stuff like that, calls lightning from the sky, and then in the grand finale, she gets stabbed by a Trolloc blade who somebody threw something at her and it stabbed into her, and she just basically is like, screw this, and uses the one power and takes bricks and blocks from the tavern, just yanks them right out of the wall, throws them at the Trollocs, and basically ends the fight at that point. It was fantastic, but she collapses. Lan is right there to save her. Then you cut to the scene for the following morning. Rand is coming into town with Bella, the horse, and Tam, and they are coming in town, seeing all the devastation, and the first thing he does, he says, "Where's Nynaeve? I need Nynaeve. Tam's hurt, I need Nynaeve." And Egwene she was taken. She's dead. But Rand goes to confront Moiraine. Like, listen, you show up, then they show up. You led them here. What are you after? She's like, I'm after the same thing they are. Like, they're Dark One's armies. They're after you guys. And anything he wants, I oppose. And then, if you guys want to save this town, you have to come with me. We're leaving. And they turn around, they look. There's a huge army coming down the hill, and they're like, oh, okay, so that army will follow us and leave the town alone? Okay, yeah, we'll go. It was kind of that easy. Yeah. I mean, the plot had to get moving somehow, right? But yeah, so fantastic first episode. Hope you enjoyed my recap. Let me know what some of your favorite scenes were in the comments below. Please don't spoil future episodes for people that haven't seen the show yet. Please don't spoil the books. I will talk about the books in a different video. So this video is basically just let's focus on this show. All right. So with that being said, everybody, enjoy your day.